look at some response from the Fever fandom, because the Stephanie White coaching situation is now splitting the fan base. All right, there's no way around it at all. You got fans mad that other fans are being critical of the coach. You cannot have a 19-0 run put on you in any quarter at home by any team in the league. I don't know how you watch this team and not be extremely critical of the coaching. You cannot lose that game last night at home. You cannot. You cannot have a...
Caitlin Clark has already missed 19 out of 32 games this season, and there is still no return date in sight. But here's the scary part. Her absence isn't just about one player sitting out. It's about the entire WNBA struggling to survive without her star power.
The timeline for Caitlin Clark's return. And I don't know how many people actually caught this. I did catch it, and I was like, I'm probably talking about that tomorrow. Quote, Indiana will play Washington on Friday at home, and Connecticut, who has the worst record in the league, on Sunday. Indiana's August 12th game against Dallas was broadcast on ESPN. At one point in the show, play-by-play man Ryan Ruocco shared an interesting message about number 22's return timeline.
Ticket prices are crashing, attendance is falling, and teams that remodeled entire arenas around her drawing power are now facing empty seats. What happens if Caitlin Clark doesn't come back this year, or worse, never returns as the same player again? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Yeah, Vanessa, we know that Caitlin Clark has done some full court running over the last week or two, and the update as of Monday is that she was able to add more in that regard and doing that full court running as she works to build her endurance.
Check out the frustration from someone on the bench on that last play. On another look, you see Caitlin Clark pleading for a foul on the play, coming on the court after the buzzer to yell at an official. Clark clearly upset with the officiating.
After not doing anything for so long, but she has still not returned to practice. She has still not returned to any sort of team activities yet. And I think with her being out for so long at this point, you also have to expect that the ramp-up period for her to get back on the court is going to take longer as well.
Imagine this, the Fever losing Clark for weeks already, scrambling to fill the gap by signing a 33-year-old journeyman who didn't even expect to get another real shot in this league. That isn't a strategic move, that's a survival move. It sends a message louder than any press release could. This team is running out of options. When you need players who were sitting at home waiting on a training camp invite, it's not about building championship depth anymore. It's about stitching together a roster that can simply get through 4 quarters without collapsing.
And we still don't know when she will be returning to the court, if she will be returning to the court this season. And most specifically, the reporting around Caitlin Clark's injury, because I feel like it is getting stranger by the day. It has been a month now that Caitlin has been out. And unfortunately, I'm starting to get this gut feeling that we might not even see Caitlin back on the court this season. And that might actually be the best thing for her. So and Scott Agnes was replying to someone else's comment who said, just can't wait until Cece is back. She's the most dynamic, electric player in the WNBA.
Clark's body has become the biggest storyline of the season. What started as a nagging pain in her quad soon shifted into reports about groin tightness, then morphed into a string of soft tissue concerns. She's already been sidelined for more than half of the year, 19 games and counting, with trainers unable to give anything close to a timeline for her return. That's not a rest issue. That's not a minor knock. That's the kind of situation that keeps a fanbase holding its breath every morning waiting to see if she's even participating in shit-arounds.
They are not putting a timetable out there in terms of when we could see her back on the floor.
Yeah, I know Fever fans want her back. The Fever, by the way, are getting pretty thin at guard with season-ending injuries to Ari McDonald, Sydney Colson, Shanae.
And so for the Fever, there's been 11 games that Caitlin Clark has missed since that July 15th injury. They have 11 regular season games left before the playoffs, so some time, but not a ton of time to get her back incorporated, and they've stayed consistent that
Yeah, I think they're probably getting a little nervous right now, but the good news is that we're sort of seeing a little bit of like the tiredness. I was at the Sparks game recently, and all the players were like, it's been a long season. Again, a record number, 44 games that they're having to play.
You can't build momentum when the biggest star in women's basketball is stuck in recovery mode, especially when no one can promise she'll be back at all. And here's where things turn ugly. The impact stretches way beyond the Fever locker room. Entire organizations across the WNBA have been leaning on Clark's appearances to make their schedule profitable. Stadiums were expanded, staff was hired, and advertising dollars poured in because they banked on her name selling out nights on the calendar. Now, with Clark out, it's all starting to unravel. Ticket prices that once skyrocketed when she came to town are tanking. When she misses games against rivals, resale sites drop from triple digits to scraps. In Chicago, seats that went for $86 when Clark was expected are now barely moving at $25 without her. That's not just about one star not playing, that's a fanbase showing they're only coming to watch her. Picture those arenas that were redesigned specifically to handle Clark-sized crowds.
I actually went to his YouTube channel and just kind of skimmed through the comments to see if there was anything else. There was one other reply where he was replying to someone and basically said, like, you have to trust me or just trust me. And then Scott Agnes replied and he said, have patience, at least several more weeks. Now, Scott Agnes is a beat reporter for the Indiana Fever. He has been covering them relentlessly all season, and we have gotten a lot of great information from Scott. It's up to viewers' discretion. It's up to the fans if they want to believe what he's saying, but several more weeks pretty much puts Caitlin Clark to coming back at the very end of the regular season.
Just months ago, these places were buzzing, every section filled, people standing in the aisles just to snap a photo when she checked in. Now, entire rows are empty, whole corners of the building look like preseason scrimmages. And the energy is gone before tip-off. That silence in those seats says more about the league's reality than any attendance sheet. This isn't just about losing a guard, it's about the WNBA losing its magnet. The numbers back it up too. When Clark sat out the All-Star weekend, TV audiences took a freefall. Ratings slid down by more than a third. That's not a coincidence, that's not a blip. That is proof that her pull reaches into living rooms far beyond Indiana. With her out, casual viewers flipped the channel, and the main event for the league suddenly looked like a side act. The Fever, meanwhile, are visibly staggering into damage control. They've used hardship contracts just to field enough players. Their depth chart is stretched thin, rotations are unsteady, and veterans are being asked to play heavier minutes than they can realistically handle. It doesn't look like development anymore. It looks like duct tape trying to keep a season from splitting apart at the seams. And every time the team trots out someone signed last week, it just underlines how fragile the whole structure has become without Clark in uniform. So now we're left staring at this giant question mark. Even if she does come back, how much can she really give on a body that's already been through this much? And if she can't make it back in time to rescue them, what kind of season is left to salvage? That's not panic on the margins, that's panic at the center of the WNBA's growth plan. The league put her at the heart of everything from ticket sales to TV ratings. And Clark's injuries are forcing everyone to realize that leaning so heavily on one player comes with dangerous risks. The real question now isn't just whether Clark can save the Fever season, but whether the WN